If you believe that time is money, there are ways to spend extra to bypass waits on your Royal Caribbean cruise. A cruise vacation usually includes shows, activities, shore excursions, and a lot of other fun on board. However, there are thousands of other people on your ship that want to do the same thing. Sometimes there are short waits, while other times long lines develop for very popular activities. You could plan ahead and arrive early, book certain things in advance, or simply hope for the best, or you could throw money at the problem. Spending money isn't always the solution, and you can have a great cruise without spending more money on add-ons. But for some people, it is worth it to have a more convenient experience. So, if you value time over money, I've got 4 upgrades you could pay extra for to wait less and skip lines on your Royal Caribbean cruise. Number 1 is the key. Perhaps the most popular way to skip a few lines on your cruise is to buy Royal Caribbean's VIP pass, known as the Key. The Key is an optional purchase to be made before the cruise begins, where guests get extra perks. Benefits of the Key include priority embarkation, special reserve times and signature top deck attractions, tendering priority, and more. Buying the Key should save you some time with a shorter wait to board the cruise ship, as well as disembarking it when the cruise is over. I would argue this is probably some of the best benefits of the Key in and of itself. Also, if you buy the Key, you can enjoy times at specific attractions on the ship like Rock Climbing Wall or the Flowrider Surf Simulator. Think of it like a fast pass to get you to the front of the line, or at least less of a crowd, because it's reserved for only people that have the Key, and in my experience, there's very few people that have the Key that actually show up for these events. The only issue with this is that it may not be for an activity you actually want to do. As an example, water slides are not included, neither is the zip line in some cases. Another downside of the Key is you have to purchase it for everybody in your group above the age of 6, and you have to pay a daily fee for every day of your cruise. Plus, most of the best benefits are really just on embarkation day. However, the Key is probably the most affordable option in this list that we have here today, and it will shave off some time and save you a little bit of time getting on and off the ship, among other places. Number 2 is to book a suite. Another way to bypass a few lines is to stay in a suite instead of a lower category stateroom. Royal Caribbean has 2 tiers of suite experiences: the Royal Suite class on Oasis, Quantum, and Icon class ships, and then suites on the rest of the fleet. There are more lucrative benefits if you're on a ship with Royal Suite class benefits. Firstly, you'll get priority embarkation and disembarkation by staying in a suite. When you arrive at the cruise port, there will be a special line just for suite guests that is almost always shorter than the regular line. Moreover, you'll board the ship first if they've not started the embarkation process yet. Now, priority disembarkation is my favorite suite benefit, because the suite concierge will escort you off the ship and cut through the usually long line that forms on the final morning. This single benefit has saved me a lot of time and my family's sanity trying to get off the ship after the cruise is over. Suite guests also have reserved seating at shows to enjoy. It's not always the best place to sit, but they are indeed reserved spots for suite guests as well as top tier Crown and Anchor members. While suite guests do not get any special times at signature activities like those that have the Key, there is reserved seating for suite guests on the pool deck. And because pool deck chairs go very quickly, especially on sea days, it's a really nice way to not have to be as competitive for a pool chair. Some of the suite benefits do sound similar to the Key, but with the suite, you also get an opulent and expensive cabin to go with it. It's also worth mentioning that suite benefits on Royal Caribbean's newer ships are far more lucrative than on older ships. So staying in a suite will not only give you more space within your cabin, but also give you some benefits that could save you a little bit of time here and there. It's not like you're going to get a fast pass to every single thing on board, because if you wanted that, well, that leads us to number 3, and that is to get a Royal Genie. If you really want to eliminate as many lines as possible, then you should book a Star Class suite. Star Class is the exclusive top tier of Royal Caribbean suite program, and guests in these cabins not only get the largest suites on the ship, they also get the service of the Royal Genie. The Royal Genie is like the easy button for your cruise, and they get you access to just about anything without waits on board. Not only do they have the regular suite benefits that I talked about earlier in this video, but your Genie escorts you on board the ship from the cruise terminal, and that's the very beginning of how much they can help you with waits on board. The Genie can actually get you an elevator anytime you want, as long as the Genie is with you, to bypass everything else. They wave their card, you get in the elevator, and you don't have to stop at any other floor. And this is really indicative of a lot of what the Genie is all about. You can completely bypass lines for shows, ice skating, laser tag, elevators, and even getting back on the ship. You just message your Genie via WhatsApp on your phone, and they'll help you out. Genies cannot quite bypass every line. For example, water slides are still on your own, but It's truly the best choice for anybody that absolutely, positively wants to avoid lines or waits on their cruise, and money is not an object at all. But as you might imagine, Star Class cabins are not cheap. Oftentimes, the price for a Star Class suite costs 5 figures, with some of the top suites actually exceeding $80,000 for a week. Yeah, it's not practical. It's not objectively a good value. It's simply a mega splurge, but it does come with some amazing benefits. So far, we've been talking about ways to skip lines on board the ship, but how about other places? Because shore excursions are a common place you're going to find lines as well, and that leads me to private shore excursions. Because if there's one kind of waiting on a cruise that I personally detest the most, it's waits for a group shore excursion. Shore excursions are a lot of fun, but group excursions tend to epitomize the saying, hurry up and wait. I like to explore things at my pace, and while group shore excursions are often quite affordable, I prefer to do things on my own in certain ports. Booking a private excursion could alleviate waits by allowing you to get going and stop and start when you want to. You could book a private sightseeing tour or even charter a catamaran. There are even Royal Caribbean private excursions you can book through the Private Journeys department. Now, the downside of a private excursion is, well, the cost. You'll probably pay much more per person than on a group tour. So far, every way I've been sharing with you how to skip lines on a Royal Caribbean cruise has involved spending more money. But how about an easy, free upgrade that anybody can take advantage of, assuming you're on a ship that supports it, and that is express boarding. If you happen to be on a ship that supports express boarding, Royal Caribbean will reward you with a faster way to get on the ship, and it costs absolutely nothing extra. If you complete all the steps of the check-in process via the Royal Caribbean app, then you should get express boarding on your set sail pass immediately. You'll need to use the app to enter all your info, scan your passport, take a selfie, and answer the health questionnaire the day before the cruise begins. The downside is it's only available on a few ports and ships, but it is indeed free. As an example, it's available on Utopia of the Seas, an Icon of the Seas, and it looks like Royal Caribbean may be rolling it out to more ships within the fleet, but this is an easy, free way to get through and, of course, not have to wait in line, or at least less of a line anyway. If you've listened to all of these tips and you're thinking to yourself, we're doomed, we're going to have to wait in long lines the entire cruise, it's going to be the worst vacation ever, really don't worry. This video is really about ways to bypass the shorter waits that you might encounter. The reality is, if you do none of these things, you'll still have a great cruise, and you'll still be able to enjoy a lot of things on board. There may simply be a little bit of a wait for certain activities. And truly, it's the activities and shows where you have the longest lines. Even the check-in process within the cruise terminal has gotten so much easier thanks to Royal Caribbean's processes that have expedited the entire experience. An easy and free way to skip lines, or at least reduce the wait times, is to take advantage of off-peak hours for these type of activities. If we're talking about the water slides, or the rock climbing, or the flow rider, do them in the late afternoon or evening, right around dinner time. There's going to be far less people over there. In fact, also go do these things on port days, especially in the morning when people are off the ship exploring the port. If you want to get into a show and don't have a reservation for it, always go for the later shows, especially if there's a show beyond like 10 o'clock at night. Man, there's not many night owls competing for those kind of slots out there. If you're concerned about lines for shore excursions, simply getting off the ship in general, try to go later, especially when you're in port. Right when the cruise ship docks in those first 2 hours, everybody and their mother wants to get off the ship in order to go do things. But if you're more flexible with your plans, wait until 11 a.m. or noon or something like that, and then get off the ship. There'll be no line at all. Or when you do get off the ship early, come back early, and again, less of a line to contend with. If you want to check out dueling pianos or go to the Schooner Bar and have less of a crowd, go there in the evening hours when there's less people to compete with, especially once you get past about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. It'll take a little bit of trial and error to figure out the best time, especially if you're brand new to Royal Caribbean, but in general, there is an ebb and a flow. And look for opportunities in which people are busy doing other things. Dinner time is a great time to do any other thing on board the ship, especially activities. For shows, later in the evening. And for shore excursions and things important in general, you want to go basically after the initial rush has gone out there. Let me know in the comments below, what are your top strategies for avoiding lines on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and which of these tips that I shared in this video will you use? I'm looking forward to reading your comments below. While you're below our video, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. It really helps our channel out and allows you to know when we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.